Hello, I'm Dylan DeGagny, and this is my persuasive speech entitled Eliminate the Electoral College. What do John Quincy Adams, Rutherford B. Hayes, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump all have in common? None of them were elected by the American people. That is to say, none of them won the popular vote, and despite that, they were all elected the President of the United States by the Electoral College. The Electoral College is the system in which we decide the President in the United States. And I am here today to tell you why the Electoral College should be abolished, because it does not represent all Americans equally, is very easily corruptible, and it is completely unnecessary and completely outdated. So, the Electoral College does not represent all people of all states equally, because there are different numbers of delegates in each state and different populations of each state. So there's not an exact one-to-one comparison of the amount of votes, the amount of people that each delegate represents in each state. For example, according to New York Times on November 2nd, 2008, and accessed April 6th, 2020, Wyoming has 3 delegates, and each delegate represents around 135,000 voters. Meanwhile, Florida has 27 delegates, but each of them represents 480,000 voters. So each person in Florida has much less of a say than people in Wyoming, just due to the fact that their delegate represents much many more people. And this is true for many states. No two states are exactly the same as far as the amount of power they have in the elections. So most states, the states with larger populations tend to have less say as far as their delegates go, and the states with smaller populations tend to have more of a say, less people per delegate, which means that they have slightly more power as far as the election goes. Another problem with the delegates is that all of the delegates for one state will vote the way that the majority of their state votes. So if 55% of people in Massachusetts vote Democrat and 45% vote Republican, all of the votes will go to the Democratic nominee for Massachusetts. And in an article by the Washington Post, November 12th, 2013, accessed April 6th, 2020, most people live in a purple America, not a red or blue. So many people live in areas or in states that there's not strong influence on either side. It's not very red or very blue. It is somewhere in the middle where say like half the people are Democrats, half the people are Republicans. But when you make an electoral college map, all the states are either red or blue, because all the votes for one state go to the same person. Electoral college, as well as being unequal, is also very easily corruptible. This is seen in gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is when the leaders redraw the voting lines in a certain state or certain district to favor their political party. So if we want to redraw the districts so that more Republicans win, then the Republicans could redraw it so that each Republican wins 51% of their vote, but each place votes Republican and each Republican wins. If the Democrats want to do it, they could do the same thing. It goes either way. But even if you have a political minority, they could still redraw the votes. They could redraw the borders and create a majority for themselves in the congressional voting, just by changing the districts. Also, according to Forbes magazine, on November 4th, 2012, access April 6th, 2020, electors can vote for whoever they want in the presidential election, and in 2004, an elector from Minnesota voted for vice presidential candidate John Edwards for both the president and the vice president, and he didn't even spell his name right. He spelled it John Ewards. So he voted for John Ewards for both the president and the vice president of the United States. Another reason that we should eliminate the Electoral College is that it's just completely outdated and it does not fit in modern America. According to U.S. News and World Report, December 27th, 2016, and Access April 6, 2020, the Founding Fathers, the reason that they created the electoral college system, was that they did not trust the Americans to have informed decisions. And delegates like Hamilton, who are elitist, did not believe that the American people were intelligent enough to make the decisions for themselves, and they wanted the House of Representatives to elect the president. This was a compromise. They compromised with the Electoral College system. Another thing that people say is that the Electoral College system is easier and faster, but with modern technology, it is just as easy to get the popular vote as it is to get the electoral vote. In conclusion, the Electoral College should be abolished because not all people are represented equally. It is very easily corrupted by gerrymandering and by just voting however you want, and it is outdated and completely unnecessary. I don't know for sure if America would be better if John Quincy Adams, Rutherford B. Hayes, George W. Bush, or Donald Trump were never elected president, but it would definitely have been more representative of the American people.